Hey guys, it's Pinkstar and welcome back to another cosplay tutorial video. Today I am going to be going over how to make different types of LED gems for your costumes. This is a big one that I get asked quite a lot about at conventions, is how I make my costumes light up and what I use to make the gemstones. So I'll be going over the different types that I've personally used myself. So there's 4 different methods, and I'll give you the pros and cons of each of those, and hopefully you find this video helpful. Alright, so first up we're going to talk about resin. This was the first type of product that I used to make my gems out of when I was first starting off. Just due to watching Kamui cosplays tutorials at the time, and I used it on my Tier 9 Druid skirt. So this was one of the gemstones that I made. Yeah, resin has some really good properties, also has some really bad ones. So the good thing is you can embed LEDs direct into your gemstones while they're curing, so that makes it super handy for your costumes to have the LED already in the gemstone. Yeah, I really like that idea. The other thing is it's super hard and durable, you're not going to break them, and it's nice and clear, it's crystal clear, so you know, it makes really nice gems. Downsides are, because if you're putting the LED direct into your gemstone, you can't put any diffusing material in, so you end up with one point of light. If you're using strip lights or something like that instead, then you obviously can put some diffusing material in between your LEDs and your gemstone. In this case, because it's flat on a skirt, I couldn't do that, but if it was in an armor piece you could. To try and get around that, I put some tin foil on the back to try and reflect the light, and also put some nail polish on the outside to kind of try and colour it and make it a little bit more diffusey, if diffusey is a word. But yeah, that is the first type of gemstone that I ever made. I mean, resin is great, it looks nice, but it is extremely expensive. It's fumey, so you do need to wear a respirator while working with it. It's quite heavy as well, so if you're making large gems, I wouldn't recommend it. And also if you're making a lot of gems on a costume, especially a fabric costume, it's going to weigh it down. So yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend it in that sort of situation. If you're just doing like the odd little gemstone, then yeah, it's great. So yeah, I do like resin, but I'm about to show you some other options that are a lot cheaper and have just as good finish as resin. So yeah, we'll show you those. Right, before I show you the next lot of gems, I was just going to show you the LEDs I use for the resin. So it's just one of these little 3-volt LEDs. You can just use a coin battery to light them up. Yeah, I find these to be a great option because they're really cheap, and you can get them pretty much anywhere, like any electrical sort of place. Yeah, a lot cheaper than strip lights, and if you're just wanting like a small gem or anything like that, if it's hollow or if you are using resin, yeah, these are a great option. You can obviously also wire them to external batteries as well, so you can wire a whole heap of them together. Yeah, thought I'd show you guys that. Alright, so the next gem is this one here, which I use for my Tyrande costume. It does look similar to the previous one, but this is super light because it's literally a piece of plastic. This is made out of transparent warbler, which means that it is hollow on the inside. It's literally a sheet that is like heated over something, and then it's just like a dome, and then yeah, it's hollow, so you can put in your cheap LEDs that I just mentioned, There's lots of room for packing materials such as this stuff to diffuse your lighting. Yeah, really great option. I really like this one. So you do need to just make something to mold over, and that's about it. It's kind of like vacuum forming, I guess, but on a cheaper scale because you don't need a vacuum forming machine, and a bit safer because you're literally just using some warbler and a heat gun, heating it over, cutting it out, that end. So I'll show you guys how to make this one. This is probably the second most expensive option. I think in this list I'm probably going from most expensive to cheapest, to be honest. But yeah, this is a really great option, so I'll show you guys how to do that.
Alright, so take your Warbler's transpa-art and just heat it with a heat gun and then stretch it over whatever shape that you're wanting to make. You'll want to just cut away any excess and then just heat and stretch it until it's fully shaped. You can just tuck this behind and then just cut it out with a pair of scissors. Pop it out and you're done and you have a dome.
Alright, next I'm going to show you one of my favourite options at the moment, and this is using Warbler's crystal art, which is this stuff here, the little clear palettes. So it's a little bit less transparent, well, still transparent, but you know, not as clear as your resin, but it is a good dupe for resin because it's lighter as well, it's not fumey. You can make them a lot quicker, you don't have to wait for it to cure, you just like literally heat it and then like once it's cooled down you've got a gem that you can smash out heaps, and they're like super easy, and you just put some like nail polish or paint on the back and you're away. Obviously the thinner the more, like the clearer it is. The thicker the piece, the more opaque it gets, and it becomes more of a like kind of cloudy, I guess is the word. But yeah, these are awesome. So it's a really great cheaper option than resin. It's way lighter. But yeah, pretty much exactly the same. You can't really put LEDs directly into it, but you can just put them on the back. And there's obviously, if you're putting it into a piece like this, where I have put in a piece of your packing foam just to diffuse the light out, and yeah, I reckon it comes up looking really nice. So I'll show you guys how to make that. You just need a mold of some sort. So this is a pre-bought one. I think I got this from like AliExpress for maybe a couple of dollars. And this one I made myself because I wanted a certain size, and yeah, you can make like any sort of shape that you want, and all you do is you heat it up and then you press the heated crystal art into the mold. Once it's cool, pop it out and you're done. So yeah, I'll show you guys that.
Alright, so take some crystal art between two pieces of baking paper and just heat it with your heat gun. This can get quite hot, so just be careful, but I like using the baking paper just to stop the beads from flying around, and then just push it into your mold. And there you have it.
Alright, and before we move on to our last option, I just thought I'd show you guys strip LEDs. So this one I've just connected to a battery. But yeah, so strip LEDs are great for gems, obviously because they're flat, they're the perfect option with resin and with like these ones here, the crystal art. See, you can probably see what I mean there. That's without any diffusion, so if you put in some packing material behind that, then you're going to get a much nicer diffused light. So like that's diffusing it a little bit more. You still see the dots, but It's a lot better than like what it was without the packing material, and you can double that over and things as well, so you just kind of work around to get like the look that you're after. But yeah, so that's strip LEDs, so that's the other option, and it's probably the option that I use the most now because you can buy reels of them. So really handy if you've got a big project and you don't want to be using lots of individual LEDs and soldering lots of individual LEDs together. These are great. So yeah. Alright, and last option is this here, which is just a dome from, like, I buy these from like AliExpress and things, and it's literally just like a globe that you would find like it's like almost like a Christmas ornament globes. So this is a full sphere, or you can just use a half one. Bad things about these obviously is you're limited by what you can find, like the sizes, shapes, etc. So you can't like make whatever shape and size that you want. You're kind of stuck with whatever you have. But it is really handy, like this here I have painted, and it's like a globe that I can then open, and I can put LEDs and things on the inside of that, and it's, you know, nice glowy orb. Or you can put this into a costume, into your armor, and put your like LEDs and things on the inside, and obviously with it being hollow, it's the same sort of thing as your Warblers transpa-art, but cheaper. This is the cheapest option you can get, but as I said, you are limited by the shapes, etc. Yeah, but these are really handy. So just acrylic globes, you can get them heaps of places. I think you can get them like Spotlight, craft stores, yeah, a range of different places, but generally AliExpress, etc. is like super cheap. Buy them for like a couple of dollars for like a few at a time. You can buy like packs of 10, etc. So yeah, really handy. That is the other option. That's probably the cheapest option that you can possibly get. And yeah, I have used these in costumes before, especially if you're needing a sphere for a certain part of a costume. So I used the big sphere for my staff for my last Druid cosplay that I wore to BlizzCon. That staff had a massive orb in the top. I then packed the inside with packing material and heaps of LED strips on like in a circle. So just like a circle that went around the inside, so that I kind of like closed the orb onto it, and the lights were on both sides. And yeah, that worked really well. So for things like that, this comes in really handy. Or yeah, if you're just needing like a random like circle gemstone for something on a shoulder piece or something like that, you can just use one of these rather than having to worry about making your own. As I said, super cheap and just as good as any of the other options that I have mentioned, apart from the fact that you obviously are limited by the shapes. And that's about it. Alright, so that's it from me. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Those are all the types of LED gems that I personally made. If you've done anything different, please let me know because I'd love to hear about it. And if there are any videos that you want to see me do in the future, please put a comment down below. But otherwise, as always, hit that like button because it does help me out, and make sure to hit the subscribe button so you can see more from me in the future. Thanks again all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!